Hello there, boys and some girls. I spent some time in the SpiritVale demo and it feels a lot like the modern spiritual successor to MapleStory. I'm late to the party as the demo ended on the 22nd of June. I still wanted to share my thoughts and my experience with the demo because I did have a lot of fun with it. Just to mention that footage might be a little bit limited because I'm not able to get any new one. SpiritVale. It's a 3D MMORPG with this classic MapleStory vibe. You have big maps full of monsters, constant farming, gear hunting, character building, just non-stop grind and fun. You explore tile-based maps connected by portals. Not all of them are going to be directly connected to the maps as they look like on the world map, so a map to your right you might not necessarily be able to go there by going through the right portal. You might have to go through a different map, but most of them are going to be like they look on the world map. You basically kill mobs and slowly power up your character. The nice thing is that there's absolutely no quests, no story, no nothing. Just go, do whatever you want right after you finished with the character creation. It's that much fun. I played a full int necromancer and I really enjoyed it. You can actually raise bosses as your permanent minions after you kill them, which is so freaking cool. They even stay with you after you log out of the game and log back into the game. It's just that much fun. My favorite one to use was actually the Cactus King, not because it's the strongest, it's not, but it has a great AoEs, which means it makes grinding easier because they're gonna pull all the enemies towards you. Augmenting your skills is also something that you can do in the game with tomes that you craft for certain charms. For example, there's a skill that actually pushes normally enemies away from the center of it, but then you can augment this skill to actually make it so it pulls enemies in, creates a damaging, slowing, and magic resisting lowering field. It just does crazy damage, and it makes building the character and building your skills even that much more deep. The game also has an excellent kin binding system, which really helps you once you start to get into higher levels and you have more skills and you have more things on your keyboard or on your bar. Basically, you have more skills. It just makes life so much easier to be able to keybind to anything that you want. I really love that. In contrast, once you get higher up there and you get more skills and you get more things to play with, the screen becomes a blur and your mouse just kind of disappears into the chaos. And when you need to aim certain skills, because you don't look based on where your camera or I guess your mouse is facing, then you might have like a slight bit of a hard time to figure out where the mouse is at every time because of the amount of crazy effects on the screen. I wish it was a little bit different, maybe a little bit of glowing for the cursor or something. I don't know, it just makes life a little bit harder to see. Progression feels very MapleStory-like, but kind of not. Let me explain. You farm lower level maps until you're strong enough to actually move to better ones. This one is the same. Different maps drop different kind of gear sets and different kind of crafting materials. So a certain map might drop a certain set of items and also a certain type of misc item, which then you can pick up and craft in the same map, that same set that also get drops on this map. So you can kind of double farm the same kind of item at the same time, which is very nice. Every item has fixed stats to it, and then it has an additional 3 random bonus lines on it. You can then use the essences, which are very similar to cubes in MapleStory. They also dropped by monsters, and the drop rate depends on the level. The higher the level, the more the drop rate. It starts from like I think 0.1 to 0.3% in like level 110 plus. The reason you want those essences is to be able to change the stats on your item. Like I said, similar to cubes. The first use of these essences is to reroll individual lines. So this means one line, change it into the same line but higher or lower stats. It's kind of like a gacha thing. You just roll into the same thing but different. Second use is to change the stat type. So from attack to magic attack, from strength to int, these kind of things. The third actually locks one line and then randomize all the rest of the lines. Number 4 adds more lines, up to 5 in total. And then number 5 just randomize every single line. There is also a potential cap on how much you can re-roll the item. This is basically the opposite of old MapleStory. In old MapleStory, you use scrolls like chaos scrolls on fixed items, and then you hope for like lucky upgrades or lucky downgrades, I guess, even though you don't want downgrades, until you used all your scroll slots, right? Here, you farm good base items with the good stats that you want. And then you also get perfect rolls on the bonus line, the 2 additional lines that you're gonna get. And then you refine the item. You kind of use the scrolls in the shop as the final cherry on top, basically. Now, on top of that, you also have cards, which are basically nebulites from MapleStory. The MapleStory doesn't have nebulites anymore, but what it used to be, it's just like a stat stick to add on your item, just another something that increases your stats, which is nice, and then you can remove it by giving some gold to an NPC. There are also relics, which is basically a set of 4 items that give you set bonus, as well as individual item bonuses, and even some of those items have stats that increase as you refine those items, so you get more damage, more XP, more something. It's very nice. Farming is enjoyable and it's necessary, just like in MapleStory. The map has useful search functions for specific items, which if you're trying to follow a build or you're just trying to look for a specific item, it just makes life so much easier. Just type the name of the item, of the monster, and you're gonna find the map highlighted in whatever you want. It's that much better. However, as an information guy, as a guy who likes number, as a guy who likes things to be as explained as possible, there's some tooltips, some things here that I don't understand what they mean, and it makes life a little bit harder to understand what I'm supposed to do. Stats like damage status plus % or status power plus %, they kind of seem like translation errors, and I'm not 100% certain what they meant, so it made life a little bit harder trying to allocate points, basically. Now, the nice thing is you can actually freely respec your stats and your skills at any time in the town. There's no penalty. It just makes these mistakes that much less punishing, and it's that much more fun because you can also try 100 different builds and there is no risk to them. You can try and see what's fun to you, what's not fun to you. I do hope that it's not just a demo thing and it's also going to be in the full game, because if it is, that's going to be perfect. You'll be able to try as many builds as you want until you land on whatever you will find fun. When you go hunting for monsters, they're going to drop all kinds of shit. Inside the pool, they can also drop their own pets. There's like, I think, a 0.1% chance to drop the pets. You equip the pet and then the pet basically picks up anything automatically that's just around you. It's that much useful. Now, the gear never stop coming. The pet never stop collecting. Your inventory has a maximum rate to it. There's a weight limit that you can't go above. If you go above, you're super slowed. Everything just becomes sluggish and slow. And the pet doesn't stop collecting. Never. I do wish there was something to make the pet stop collecting, or there was some kind of a way to make the inventory slot based, so after a certain point, that's it. You're no longer able to collect more things. There are a few things that are actually bothering me, nothing that's crazy large, but like tiny things. Number one, enemies can top target you with AoE skills, and it's kind of frustrating because you don't really get to dodge or to do anything. It becomes just, well, stats. If you have enough stats in the flee stat or in the dodge stat, then you're able to avoid these attacks, but if you don't, then you don't. Even if you try to like dodge at the correct time, it's a little bit like frustrating to do that, but nothing that's gonna like make or break if I'm gonna play this game. Now, the second thing is server lag. Whenever the server was full, I noticed that my spell effects and my skills kind of were placed in a different place. Let's say I placed it in spot A, but the actual game placed it in spot B. Also, it could be that enemies were frozen. It could be that it took like 3 or 4 seconds for a spell I used to activate. I'm not talking about casting time, I'm talking about the time I press the button until the time something happens on the screen. It took like 3 to 4 seconds at times, but it was only when the servers were completely full, like 100 people max on a server. I think there's like 10 servers, if I'm not wrong, for every single like region. I'm in EU, so I just chose the first one with the highest amount of server players because, hey, you want to see the most players, right? Not necessarily. Let me explain why. First of all, yes, if you party up with other people, you get increased stats, not stats, increase XP and increase drop rate. That is correct. With a full party, I think we're like 4 people, 5 people, I'm not sure what's the max. I had, I think, 10 or 15% more on each stat. I guess that's nice, but it's not like a make or break again. Going for bosses didn't really feel necessary to play with other people yet. Maybe later on it will feel necessary. But from what I felt or how I played, it didn't really feel necessary to play with other people. It felt like everybody was in their own single player game, playing in a shared world. Kind of like everybody in their own hamster wheel, just running and running, upgrading their own thing, and then occasionally looking to the right, looking to the left, speaking to somebody else, maybe asking in chat some questions, the things that you don't know and somebody else might know. It's nice that it's there, but it doesn't feel like the focus is on the multiplayer side of the game. With this small tangent out of the way, let's go back to the main subject. The game costs $15 upfront. They said the prices are going to vary a little bit depending on the location. I guess that's fair. I am curious how they're going to support these servers for the long term. I think it's probably going to be through cosmetic, and the reason I'm saying that is because there is a huge cosmetic shop in the game that looks very similar to the whole NX shop in MapleStory. They also have like a special currency for it. It looks like colorful stars, like purple bluish stars. And I hope it's just gonna stay cosmetic and they're not gonna go the same route of cubes in the store, in the same way that, I don't know, this game's gonna sell what, essences in the store. I hope that's not it, but we'll see. They might like drop, I don't want to just go there yet. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. I was already going for the negative, but no, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Right now I don't see a ton of long-term endgame besides grinding maybe for perfect gear. Every single item is like maxed out. You create a bunch of alts. I probably could max out a character in a month, I think, from what it seems like right now. I am curious what the full game is going to look like, because the game is going to release to early access on July 15. So I guess we will see, but I am curious like what the end game is going to look like, because right now it doesn't look like there's too much of an end game, but I didn't reach the end game, so could be completely wrong. Let's summarize everything, okay? SpiritVale feels like MapleStory, but a little bit different, in a good way. The gear customization, the summoning, the free respecs, the farming loops, they are all strong. I'm planning to play the game on release, most likely gonna play the Necromancer again because I really liked it. If you like the grindy MMOs with this slow progression of you play on a map, you grind, you get better, move on to better map, and then you continue this loop, you might like this one. You can't play the demo, but you can play on release if you want, July 15, or you can just follow people to see what they say. Maybe me, maybe other people, who knows. I would love to know what you think about the game. Have you played the demo? What did you think about this? These kind of thoughts. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Hope you chose one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, let me know so I can improve. So keep it safe and I'll see you next one. Bye bye.